Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another weekly recap again. Yeah, that was kind of my fault. I thought there wasn't going to be a game update this week, but apparently there is, and it is a fairly substantial one at that. This week we did get the two new Theater of Blood modes, Hard Mode and Story Mode, as well as the other host of smaller changes in the game update, and some of those smaller changes are actually very impactful. We also did get a giant poll blog on the ranged rebalance, however I did cover that in yesterday's videos, so if you do want to know more, I will leave a link in the description for that video, and as always I'll be going over any other news related to the old school RuneScape community this week. As always, don't forget to like the video, all that good stuff. Anyway, let's get started. Now, definitely the biggest thing that changed this week is the addition of the new modes for Theater of Blood. There's both now the story mode, which comes actually with a new quest, as well as the Theater of Blood hard mode, which is going to be a much more challenging version of the Theater of Blood, but it will also offer additional rewards. Now, starting with the Theater of Blood hard mode, there are quite a few changes to it, and they aren't as simple as increasing certain stats. Most of the rooms have completely new mechanics or a tougher twist on an existing one. Now, to get access to the top hard mode, you do need to have at least one completion of the regular Theater of Blood, but I mean realistically you probably will need that anyway. Now, there are some unique rewards just to the Theater of Blood hard mode. There are some ornament kits that allow you to transform the Grazi Rapier, the Sanguinesti, in the Scythe of Vitor into a Saradomin themed version. Do keep in mind though that all of the ornament kits are untradeable, similar to the challenge mode Chambers of Xeric. Now, for the Scythe of Vitor, there's also an additional recolor that is kind of a blood vampire version, and all of the ornament kits are going to be included in the collection log. Now, there is one more cosmetic reward, and that is going to be a Little Zik Metamorphosis. When you're doing the Theater of Blood hard mode, you have a chance of getting a Sanguine Dust. If you sprinkle it over your little guy, you'll be able to transmogrify them into the Maiden, the Pestilent Bloat, Nilicus, Sodasag, and Zarpus. And to do all that, you will only need one dust. Now, on top of the cosmetic perks, there are a few actual drop rate increases. If you're doing Theater of Blood hard mode, you have a slightly higher rate of getting uniques or purples. The actual baseline regular loot is also going to be increased. Now, also the quicker that you can complete the Theater of Blood, the better base loot you're going to be getting as well. And finally here, if you're doing a hard mode Theater of Blood, you actually will have a lower chance of getting a Avernic when you get a purple, so you have a higher chance of getting a more valuable item, or at least a non-Avernic. So that is it for the Theater of Blood hard mode. Now, as for the other mode here, it is the story version of a Theater of Blood called A Night at the Theater. Now, A Night at the Theater is actually going to be a quest, so you are not going to have your quest cape until you have completed the story mode for Theater of Blood. You can start the quest by talking to the Mysterious Stranger. Now, if you've already done the Theater of Blood at least once, you can actually auto-complete this quest, I'm pretty sure. Just by talking to the Mysterious Stranger, you'll just be done. So if you already have a kill count at Theater of Blood, this is going to be the easiest thing ever. Now, to be able to complete the quest, you do need to have at least a 90 combat requirement, and you need to have completed Priest in Peril. Now, as for the reward, you're going to get 2 quest points, as well as 2 20,000 experience lamps that you can put into a combat skill. Now, for those who are worried like me about getting their quest cape back, don't worry, because the story mode is going to be quite a bit easier than a regular Theater of Blood run. You are able to do it solo as well. Now, when you are doing the story mode specifically, you are going to get 3 lives that will be counted as a safe death. So if you do lose a life, you're going to be teleported to the entrance of the last boss that you fought. Now, a giant warning here, this does not apply to Hardcore Ironman. You do not get 3 lives if you are on a Hardcore Ironman. Nothing about this story mode or the regular Theater of Blood is a safe death. So if you die on your Hardcore Ironman while doing this quest, you will lose your status. It does seem like there's a bit of a messaging issue here. I think previously Hardcore Ironmen were going to get 3 lives as well, but then they have retracted that. Now, when you complete the story mode Theater of Blood, you don't have any chance of getting a purple. However, you will get some regular loot, although at a heavily reduced rate. Now, there are a few general changes to the Theater of Blood today as well. One really big one is the elimination of stamina boosting. Now, previously, some Ironman accounts were actually able to boost stamina potions out of the Theater of Blood because you can buy them within the run, for use in other areas way before they had the herblore level or the ingredients to make it. So as of today, for every mid-level chest you come upon, you're only able to buy 1 stamina potion. Alright, so that is it for a Theater of Blood. Now, there is a bit of information regarding clans included in this update. Just for a couple of stats, as of yesterday, 5,700 clans have been made. 120,000 players are now in the new clan system, and 6.2 million clan chat messages have been sent. I mean, I am happy people are using it. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Now, there are a few minor tweaks and bug fixes to the clan system today. As of today, there are now official themed worlds for clan recruitment. Those are going to be World 477 for the US and 497 for the UK. Now, if you are in a guest channel, when you log out and log back in, you are now going to automatically rejoin that guest channel. I think that was a bit of an ongoing bug. Now, one minor change here I'm really happy to see is the default guest clan chat color is now distinct from the clan chat color. For some reason, they were the exact same, which made it incredibly confusing on day one and onwards. And speaking of chat recoloring, there is also a smaller change today that will now allow you to change any of the chat colors in game to any color you want using a hex code. So there's a huge amount of customizability for that, and hopefully that system can apply for other things in the future. So that is quite nice. Now, there are a few smaller changes here at the bottom. One of the biggest changes here is to Last Man Standing. To be able to purchase rewards from the shop, you now actually have to have 48 hours of playtime as a member account, which is a significant amount of time to be able to get the rewards. So a pretty nice antibody measure for a fairly abusable piece of content. And finally here, another minor but fairly important change is Ironman players are no longer able to enter shared God Wars instances if another player is already fighting there. Honestly, not really sure why that wasn't already the case, but happy they made the change. And that's pretty much it for today's game update. Alright, so next up here we have a few non-game related updates. First up here we have an update to Runelite. This is going to be released 1.78, 1.79, and 1.710. Now, the majority of this update is to do with clans. You may have noticed if you see clan members running around, they will now display in a different color as well as have their appropriate rank displayed. You are now able to use the world hopper to hop to a clan member's world. There's also now a new panel called the Party Panel. It's a new interactive UI that will show your active party members, as well as stuff like their health, their prayer points, and some other information. However, the Party Panel is disabled by default. As always, lots of good stuff in here. If you want to read through all of the patch notes, there will be a link in the description for that. And finally here in community news, the very first Theater of Blood hard mode goes to a team of 4. Barack Obama, Molegoat, Kirby, Resk, and Sync have completed the very first Theater of Blood hard mode in the total time of 29 minutes, so congratulations. Now finally here, as always, we're going to do a quick recap of the weekly Q&A. It just finished a few minutes ago, but there are a lot of interesting questions regarding today's game update, as well as a few other things. Now, one really interesting thing to start things off here is next week we're going to be getting another blog on equipment rebalancing. And one thing they mentioned offhand is that they are actually planning on polling some of the buffs that are divisive. Previous to that, I didn't think they were going to poll anything, but, well, I guess we're back to polling again. Is the Questscape now going to be locked behind Theater of Blood? Yes, it is. However, we do have to keep in mind that the Theater of Blood story mode is a much different experience than a regular Theater of Blood. You can do it solo. The stats have been reduced, as well as some mechanics have been changed to make it a lot easier and doable in a solo. Can we get some reasoning as to why Hardcore Ironman won't benefit from the safe death mechanic? Well, they do think this is the way it should be going forward. In all reality, probably the Chambers of Zarek should have been made a dangerous death as well. But there's just no reason for this to be a safe death. It is Hardcore Ironman after all, and there obviously needs to be some danger. Why would you put combat requirements on a quest like this? And now apparently it is actually just a recommendation, not a requirement, and that is just kind of a miscommunication. So you should actually theoretically be able to complete a night at the theater below level 90 combat if you're skilled enough to do so. Will you get Vials of Blood in story mode? Are they considered a unique item? Yes, you can get them, however at a much lower quantity. Is there any reason that a night at the theater was added as a quest and not a mini quest? Honestly, they're not really sure what would define a mini quest versus a quest. Generally, the lore is kind of important, and it could be important for upcoming quests. Could we add a Well of Goodwill into the Clan Hall? Points could be displayed on a high score, and could also be used as currency to purchase Clan Hall upgrades. Well, they really like that idea a lot. Adding in an item sync for the clan system really does make a lot of sense compared to some other suggestions, so they would be keen to go forward with that idea. When will the next Gielinor Gazette come out? Well, it's slated to come out next Thursday, along with a leadership livestream where they're going to be talking about a lot of the new upcoming content. And finally here, where are the wilderness changes? Well, here's a loose plan of how they are planning to change the wilderness in 2021. Initially, they're going to come up with a series of proposals, kind of similar to the equipment rebalance, and then they're going to follow that with a generic poll, like poll number 76 or something. And then later in the year, they're going to be blogging and changing some of the wilderness bosses. As for when you're going to get some information on it, there's going to be a wilderness blog, hopefully the week after next. And that is pretty much it for the weekly Q&A and for the weekly recap. Hope you guys enjoyed it as always. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week. Now, before I go here, as always, I want to give a big shout out to all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you so much to Cappy, Colin Corley, Timothy Chen, Wolf of the Hunt, Guy Fox, Ocelot, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed at the Dragon tier. You guys are truly amazing. Thank you as always. Also a giant shout out to Lord Dojin, All Things Gaming, Yo-Yo Sup, Need My Pills, Branton Griffin, Birdbot, and Base Titch for being subscribed at the Runelite tier. And as always, if you guys are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is an awesome way to do so. You can get immortalized in all of my future videos, get access to my video release schedule, and of course, get a custom role in my Discord server. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you next time.